Okay, so you hear prompt engineering, right? And maybe you picture someone typing magic words into a chatbot, or you wonder if it's just another, overhyped tech job title.
Yeah, or maybe even a bit of a fake job, some people think.
Right, but here's where it gets really interesting. Our sources suggest it's actually the kind of secret weapon powering some seriously successful AI startups.
That's true. And today, we're taking a deep dive based on insights straight from Y Combinator. These are the folks renowned for spotting and scaling companies that go on to become massive tech players.
The ones behind so many big names.
Exactly. And they've shared their actual methods, their operational playbook for building sophisticated AI agents, not just like dabbling with chatbots.
Yeah, this isn't about tweaking your ChatGPT query to get a better poem or something. The material we're exploring goes way deeper. It's structured, it's tactical.
It includes real-world examples, even the failures, and the specific techniques they use. It's pretty detailed.
So our mission for you in this deep dive is to unpack these strategies. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding what the pros are doing behind the scenes.
So you can start thinking about how these powerful methods might apply to what you're building or, just interested in.
Okay, let's jump in. So why does this advanced approach to prompting even matter? I mean, beyond just getting better answers from an AI.
Well, the source frames it as fundamentally changing how software is sold and delivered, especially when you're dealing with large businesses, that whole enterprise market.
How so?
What's fascinating here is this shift in roles. Gary Tan at Y Combinator talks about the forward deployed engineer. It's this idea that the key technical talent in AI startups aren't just coding away in the back room.
Okay.
They're acting like engineers directly in front of customers, solving problems live, often by configuring or even building these AI agents, like right there on the spot.
Wow, okay, compare that to the old way, the traditional enterprise sales cycle. The source even brings up the Salesforce comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's long months sometimes, right? Generic demos, endless back and forth, trying to figure out if the software even fits the customer's actual problem.
It can be painful.
Totally. And the new way. An AI native company hears a specific problem the customer has, and they might build and demonstrate a tailored AI solution, maybe overnight or in a day or two.
It's kind of wild how fast that is. That speed is the differentiator.
And the impact is concrete. The source highlights companies like Geiger ML and Happy Robot. They're using this exact playbook, this ability to rapidly tailor AI agents to solve specific customer problems.
And they're closing seven-figure deals doing it. Not small pilot projects, huge deals.
Exactly. They're not selling a generic software license. They're selling a rapid, high-value solution to a specific pain point. That's, how they're described as eating Salesforce alive in certain areas.
Because of that speed and direct problem solving with AI.
Right, but that speed requires structure, doesn't it?
Oh.
You can't build something reliable and scalable for a seven-figure deal with just one giant messy prompt. It'll fall apart.
Totally. Which leads into the next big thing, the source covers structure. They spend a lot of time on this. They dive into this real-world example called Parahelp.
Ah, yeah, Parahelp. It's a YC company powering customer support for places like Perplexity, Replit, Boltland. These are serious companies.
So actual production systems handling thousands of tickets. And they made their core prompt public, which is amazing. And it's like 6 pages long.
6 pages. That right there tells you this isn't basic stuff. It's a production-level prompt designed for scale and reliability, not just a quick experiment.
Exactly. And while we're not going to read 6 pages here, the source pulls out the key principles from that structure. Things like super clear role definition.
Yeah, the AI isn't just an assistant, right?
Yeah.
It's described more like a manager who's approving tasks or making decisions based on rules.
And structured decision-making, like actual step-by-step instructions for handling different kinds of requests. Don't just figure it out, follow these steps.
And using structured formats is key too, like XML or JSON for input and output.
Why XML or JSON specifically?
Well, there's standard ways to organize data, basically putting tags or labels around information. LLMs seem to handle these really well, probably because they saw so much structured data during their training.
Yeah.
It helps avoid ambiguity.
Okay, that makes sense.
What's also crucial in that Parahealth example, and what the source emphasizes a lot, are the built-in safety features and guardrails. Multiple checkpoints in the prompt itself to keep the AI on track.
So it doesn't go rogue or get confused.
Exactly, or start fabricating information. That level of detail, those safety checks, they're non-negotiable for real-world, high-stakes applications.
So building on that idea of structure for scale, the source introduces this concept they call the 3-layer architecture. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, this is really key. If you want to build one core AI system that can serve many different customers or handle various internal use cases, but still feel customized for each one.
Okay, break it down. Layer one.
Layer one is the system prompt. Think of this as the company-wide operating system for the AI. It defines the core identity, the universal rules, the brand voice.
Like the personality.
Sort of, yeah, and the fundamental rules. Something like, you are an expert, professional, empathetic customer service AI for our company name. Always follow these core guidelines. Be helpful, be accurate, never promise things you can't deliver. This layer is consistent for every interaction across the whole company.
Okay, the baseline. Then layer two.
That's the developer prompt. This layer adds customer-specific or use case-specific context and configuration.
Ah, so this is the customization part.
Right. If you're serving different B2B clients, this layer would include details unique to client A versus client B. It might define their industry, their common issues, specific escalation rules just for that client.
Like, any billing dispute over $500 for Acme Corp must be escalated to their account manager, Jane Doe. Something that specific.
Exactly that specific. This is where you inject the tailored knowledge and workflows.
Got it. And layer three is just the actual user's message.
Yep. Layer three is the user prompt, the real-time customer input, their actual question, their query, the data they provide, like my dashboard isn't loading or I need to change my shipping address.
So the AI gets all three layers at once. The general rules, the specific context, and the immediate question.
Precisely. The brilliance of this layering is that the AI model receives all three context layers combined. This allows a single underlying AI model to behave differently, accurately, and helpfully for varied scenarios or clients.
Giving that feeling of personalized service, but at scale.
Exactly. It's how you scale customization without building totally separate systems for everyone.
That's really elegant. Okay, so beyond just structure, what kind of advanced techniques are these YC companies using? The source mentions something that sounds kind of metaprompting.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Metaprompting is basically using AI itself to write and refine your prompts.
Wait, hold on. You're telling an AI, like, hey, my prompt isn't working very well. Can you make it better for me?
Pretty much. Instead of just endlessly tweaking prompts manually, trying things out, getting frustrated, you use a powerful LLM, a large language model. That's what we mean when we say AI model here.
Right, like GPT-4, Claude Opus.
Exactly. You tell it to act as your expert prompt engineer. You feed it your current prompt. You describe the problems you're seeing. Maybe the AI agent is hallucinating or it's failing to follow the output format you specified.
Okay.
And you ask it to give you suggestions or even rewrite the problematic parts of the prompt for you.
Wow, so the AI is helping debug its own instructions. That's kind of mind-bending.
It is. The source talks about a sort of meta-prompting formula idea.
Yeah.
You give the AI expert persona the current prompt and the observed failures or desired improvements. Make it act like a prompt expert analyzing the problem.
And they have a pro tip for this, right? About which models to use.
Yeah, use the biggest, most capable models for the meta-prompting task itself, like GPT 4.1, Claude 3 Opus, or Gemini 2.5 Pro, because they're better at that complex reasoning and creative problem-solving needed for improving a prompt, not just executing one.
And does this actually work? Is there proof?
Yes. They share a great real-world impact case study. A company had a simple initial prompt for an AI billing agent, but it gave generic answers, couldn't handle complex cases.
Leading to lots of tickets getting escalated to human support.
Exactly, a high escalation rate. So they applied metaprompting. They fed the prompts and the problems to a powerful LLM acting as an expert.
And the AI suggested.
It suggested a completely rewritten, much more detailed prompt,
Right.
with specific roles defined, step-by-step processes for different billing issues, clear examples of good and bad interactions, and strict rules for when to escalate.
Okay, much more robust. And the result?
A reported 40% reduction in escalated billing tickets, just from improving the prompt using the AI's own suggestions.
Wow, 40%. That's a massive, measurable business impact. That's not trivial.
It totally underscores that prompt engineering isn't just about making the AI sound good. It's about driving tangible outcomes, like reducing costs, improving efficiency, making customers happier.
That's incredible. Okay, and another technique they highlight, which sounds really crucial, is what they call the escape hatch.
Yes. This is basically giving the AI permission to say, I don't know.
Which sounds simple, but why is it so important?
Because the biggest mistake, according to the source, is designing your prompt so the AI must answer everything no matter what. LLMs are trained to be helpful and complete tasks.
So if they don't know the answer?
If they encounter something they don't know based on their knowledge or the context you gave them, their default programming, in a sense, is often to just make something plausible up. That's a hallucination.
Which can be disastrous, right? If this AI is giving customers incorrect information or handling sensitive financial or medical tasks.
Precisely. It destroys trust and can cause real harm. So you must build explicit uncertainty handling into the prompt. Give it a clear protocol.
Like what?
Things like, do not guess if you are unsure. If the user's request is ambiguous, ask for clarification. Never fabricate details or make assumptions. Escalate to a human supervisor if you are in doubt or if the request involves sensitive information like list-specific types.
So clear boundaries, and the YC secret sauce version of this goes a step further, right? With that, a creasy feedback log field.
Yes. This is clever. They designed the expected output format, maybe it's JSON, maybe XML, to include a dedicated field, like a feedback log, where the AI itself can log any ambiguities, uncertainties, or difficulties it had while processing the request.
So the AI can kind of complain or raise a flag.
Exactly. Think of it as the AI leaving notes for the human prompt engineer. The user's request about billing adjustment was unclear, or I couldn't find specific info on X in the provided documents.
And then the engineers review these logs.
Right. By reviewing these logs regularly, you get invaluable insight into exactly where your prompt is unclear, where the AI struggled, and how to make it better in the next iteration. Every interaction becomes a potential learning opportunity to improve the system.
That's brilliant. You're using the AI's own confusion to refine its instructions. The source even mentions you can, drag those log files, maybe if they're formatted as JSON.
Yeah, into powerful LLMs like Gemini 2.5 Pro to help analyze the logs themselves and find patterns in the failures or ambiguities.
Using AI as a tool within the development and debugging process, not just as the final output. Very smart.
It really is. It turns debugging into a data-driven process.
Okay, shifting gears a bit to practical application. The source provides this really helpful model personality guide. What's that about?
This is the recognition, based on lots of real-world usage, that not all LLMs are the same. Different models like Claude, GPT, and Gemini, even different versions within the same family like GPT 3.5 versus GPT 4, have distinct strengths and tendencies.
Almost have personalities.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And you need to consider these personalities when you're writing prompts for them. You can't just use the exact same prompt and expect the best results from every model.
Okay, so what are some of the personalities they describe? Like Claude.
They describe Claude, especially Claude 3 Opus, as maybe the collaborative, context-aware colleague. Generally good for customer-facing roles, handling long conversations, maintaining context, maybe more creative or nuanced writing tasks.
So you might prompt it a bit more conversationally.
Right. It often responds well to prompts that feel more like giving context and asking for collaboration, rather than just issuing commands.
Interesting. And GPT, particularly GPT-4.
GPT is often seen as the rule-following structured soldier. It tends to be really good at following complex, rigid instructions, handling step-by-step procedures accurately, and outputting specifically structured formats like JSON or XML reliably.
So for GPT, you'd be more direct, more like programming.
Exactly. You often prompt GPT more like you're giving explicit commands, defining functions, or laying out very clear logical steps. It excels when you are extremely clear and structured in what you want it to do and how you want the output formatted.
And Gemini, especially the newer, larger versions.
Gemini, particularly models like 1.5 Pro or the upcoming 2.5 Pro, is often positioned as the thoughtful, analytical intern or researcher. Good for research tasks, breaking down complex problems, showing its reasoning, chain of thought, digging into large amounts of data or documents you provide.
So prompts asking it to show its work or analyze information might play to its strengths.
Yes, exactly. Prompts that encourage analysis, comparison, or step-by-step reasoning tend to leverage Gemini's strengths well, especially with that large context window some versions have.
So the key takeaway is, know your model, tailor your prompt.
Absolutely. One size does not fit all when it comes to advanced prompting.
That makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't talk to every person the same way to get the best result. The source also gives concrete, real-world prompt examples, like actual templates for different types of agents.
Yeah, this is super practical.
Yeah.
They walk through the structure for things like an intelligent lead qualification agent, an empathetic technical support agent, and even a persuasive sales objection handler.
These aren't just simple questions, right? They're detailed.
Oh, very detailed. They're full instructions defining the agent's specific role. You are an AI assistant responsible for qualifying inbound leads. Its primary goal? Determine if the lead meets BANT criteria, the step-by-step process it must follow.
BANT, that's budget, authority, need, and timeline, right? Standard sales qualification.
Exactly. The prompt details how to assess each of those, what questions to ask or information to look for, and then specifies the required output format, maybe a JSON object with scores for each BANT element, and a final recommendation.
Like route to senior sales rep or add to email nurture sequence.
Precisely. Where the technical support agent prompt includes steps for diagnosing issues based on user descriptions, instructions on how to search a specific knowledge base, clear rules on when and how to escalate to a human Tier 2 support, and even a specific template for the response back to the customer, ensuring consistency and empathy.
And the sales objection handler one sounds interesting too. It's not just canned replies.
No, it embeds a whole philosophy for handling objections. It outlines strategies for common ones like it's too expensive, maybe reframing value, offering tiered options, or we need to think about it, suggesting discovery questions to uncover the real hesitation. It's quite strategic.
So these examples are complex, sure, but they clearly show the level of strategic thinking and explicit instruction required to make these agents perform real business tasks effectively. It's way beyond basic Q&A.
Definitely. It's about encoding business logic and process into the prompt.
And once you've built one of these sophisticated agents, you need to know if it's actually working well, right? The source offers an evaluation framework for that.
Absolutely crucial. It goes way beyond just asking, did it answer the question? That's not nearly enough for a business application. It's a multi-level approach.
Okay, level 1.
Level 1 is basic functionality and adherence. Is the agent following the fundamental rules you set? Is it staying within constraints? Is the output in the correct format you specified?
Like if you said output JSON, are you getting valid JSON every single time? Or is it sometimes just rambling text?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basics have to work reliably. Then level 2 is quality and user experience. How satisfied are the actual users interacting with it? What's the customer satisfaction score, or CS8? Critically, what's the escalation rate? How often do humans have to step in because the AI failed?
Ah, okay, so a lower escalation rate is a very good sign.
Huge sign. Also, things like first contact resolution rate. Did the AI solve the user's issue on the very first interaction? And qualitative things like how accurate, clear, and appropriately toned are the responses.
That makes sense. Quality metrics and level 3.
Level 3 is the bottom line. Business impact and ROI. Is this AI agent actually moving the needle on key business metrics? Is it increasing revenue, improving lead conversion rates,
Yeah.
reducing customer support costs, saving valuable human time?
That's the ultimate goal, right? Connecting the AI's performance directly back to tangible business value. They even mention using something like a sample rubric.
Yeah, like a scorecard to evaluate individual interactions consistently, looking at things like accuracy, tone, adherence to process, efficiency, and the overall perceived quality of the interaction from the user's perspective.
So using a framework like this regularly provides critical data. It tells you where your agent is failing or succeeding.
And it guides your iterative prompt improvement efforts. It's how you go from just a cool tech demo to a system that actually delivers measurable, reliable value to the business. It closes the loop.
Okay, so if you're listening and feeling inspired to try building one of these, the source doesn't just give you the concepts. They actually provide a real-world implementation roadmap, like a week-by-week plan.
Yeah, it's a very practical, systematic process they lay out. Week 1, foundation and initial prompting. Start small, don't try to boil the ocean. Pick one really focused use case, maybe an internal one first to lower the stakes. Select the best model for that specific job, based on those personalities we talked about. Draft a simple V1 prompt. Don't obsess over perfection yet. And set up your basic criteria for what success looks like, your level 1 metrics maybe.
Right, don't aim for perfect on day 1. Get something working.
Exactly. Week 2, strict testing and iterative refinement. This is crucial. Run lots of diverse test scenarios, the easy cases, the tricky edge cases, try to break it. And document meticulously every single time the agent messes up. Every failure.
Why is documenting failure so important?
Because that documentation is gold. Those failures are your data. You feed those documented failures into your metaprompting process with a powerful model to analyze why it failed and get suggestions for improving the prompt. Maybe you A/B test a couple of different prompt versions based on that feedback.
So the failures aren't problems, they're just data points for the next iteration.
Precisely. Embrace the failures. Week 3, production preparedness and safety nets. Now you build in those crucial escape hatches and error handling mechanisms. We talked about the I don't know, capability, the logging. Implement monitoring and alerts so you know if things go wrong in production.
And train the humans.
Yes, train any human team members who will interact with, oversee, or support the AI agent. Make sure they know how it works and what to do if it escalates. And then maybe consider a soft launch. Release it to a small, controlled group of users first.
A phased rollout. Makes a lot of sense. Minimizes risk.
Totally. And finally, week 4, full deployment, scaling, and optimization. Go live for that specific use case you targeted. Keep monitoring performance constantly using that evaluation framework. And this is key. Schedule regular prompt reviews and updates.
Ah, so it's not set it and forget it.
Definitely not. Models get updated. Business needs evolve. You learn more from real-world usage patterns. You have to treat the prompt like a living piece of critical software that needs ongoing maintenance and optimization.
Treat the prompt like code, essentially. Needs version control, needs updates.
Pretty much, yeah. And then, once that first agent is stable and delivering value, you take everything you learn from that process and you start planning your next focused agent. Build iteratively.
Okay, that's a solid plan. And before we wrap up, the source also explicitly lists the common mistakes that kill these AI agent projects. What are some of the big pitfalls to avoid?
Yeah, these are based on seeing what goes wrong. The everything agent trap is a classic. Trying to build one single AI agent that does 12 different complex, unrelated tasks.
Like trying to build one agent for sales prospecting, technical support, and internal HR queries all at once.
Exactly. It just gets confused and performs poorly at everything. The fix. Build focused, specialized agents. A specialist AI is almost always better than a generalist AI for challenging, specific work.
Makes sense. What else?
The perfect prompt obsession. Spending months and months endlessly tweaking a prompt in a sandbox environment before you ever put it in front of real users or real scenarios.
Analysis paralysis.
Totally. The fix is to ship early, even if V1 is imperfect. Get it out there, let it fail in controlled ways, gather that real-world failure data, and then iterate based on actual performance, not just theoretical perfection.
Okay, get data faster. What about the AI will magically figure it out? Fallacy?
Well, this is the big one. Assuming the AI understands implied context, can handle ambiguous requests gracefully, or knows your company's specific internal policies or edge case procedures without being explicitly told.
Assuming it just knows things.
Right, it doesn't. The fix. Be incredibly explicit about everything in your prompt. Detail the roles, the step-by-step processes, the constraints, what data sources to use or ignore, and especially what to do when it's unsure. Spell it out.
Leave nothing to chance. And the last one you mentioned earlier, the set and forget syndrome.
Yeah, deploying the agent and then basically never looking at the prompt again, assuming the job is done. Prompts degrade over time as models change, or business needs shift. The fix. Schedule regular performance audits, review those feedback logs, and plan for regular prompt updates as part of your operational rhythm.
Treat the prompt like the critical business logic it actually is.
Exactly. It's not just configuration. It is the logic for these systems.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, this deep dive into the YC perspective really shows that elite AI prompt engineering isn't about some kind of, coding magic or finding secret keywords nobody else knows.
No, it's much more systematic. It's a planned, strategic, operational discipline. It involves structured architecture like that 3-layer model, rigorous testing driven by analyzing failures, continuous measurement against real business outcomes, and that ongoing process of refinement using techniques like metaprompting and feedback logs.
And as the source really hammers home, mastering this skill, building this capability within your team or yourself, brings a clear, significant competitive advantage right now.
Definitely. The companies getting good at this now are the ones we see rapidly solving specific high-value problems and, frankly, winning those big deals because they can deliver solutions so much faster and more tailored than traditional methods.
And the window to gain this kind of expertise, well, it might not stay open forever as these techniques become more widespread, more standard practice.
Which makes the final thought from the source, particularly thought-provoking for you listening. The fundamental question isn't really whether AI agents will transform your industry. That seems almost a certainty at this point for many sectors.
Right, the change is coming.
The more critical question is, will you be one of the architects building them and shaping that future? Or will you find yourself competing against the companies, maybe even the AI agents themselves, that are mastering this?
That's a powerful question. So their suggested first step, maybe something you can do starting today.
Pick one small, manageable process, something internal maybe, where an AI agent could potentially help streamline things or answer common questions. Draft a V1 prompt based on these principles we discussed. Define the role clearly, outline the task, list the steps, specify the rules, include that crucial escape hatch for uncertainty.
Keep it simple to start.
Yes. Then test it with some real scenarios. Document carefully where it fails or gets confused. Don't get discouraged by the failures, use them. Start iterating based on that feedback. Just start.
Start building and learning today. That seems to be the core message.
Exactly. That's how you become one of the practitioners who are not just reacting to this shift, but actually shaping what comes next.